Welcome to the Ready to Bed podcast by the Swicegood Group. I'm Kyle Swicegood with our host, Zach Johnson, where we talk about real estate, personal property, and interesting topics. Today is going to be the interesting topics.
All right. What do you have in mind?
I think it's going to be Ask Zach Anything.
As long as I can ask Kyle anything in return.
Okay, let's play the game. So,
All right.
Zach, you've been with us since 2017.
Yeah. Hard to believe. Almost a decade working on it.
That is amazing. And the hourglass doesn't slow down. In fact, the older you get, I believe it speeds up.
Okay.
So let's talk about travel.
I had to pick one, travel wise, the one place I've been. Let me think. It would likely be back in 2019. My wife and I went to Barcelona and then up into Monaco. So that Spain, Mediterranean coast there was probably my favorite. Obviously has a lot to do with company. I would prefer to travel with her, with family. Hunting trips are great with buddies or solo, but that was probably the most memorable. We were there for the Formula One race, the F1 Monaco Grand Prix, which is kind of their crown jewel, kind of like their Daytona 500. But just the amount of history there in Monaco, the amount of money.
How close were you to the race itself?
Right there at the hairpin turn at the Fairmont, hotel. The iconic turn is where we sat. It was awesome. But like anything else in life, you're there and you're enjoying it, but it's over in a second. It's the same. I'm sure you felt the same way with travel. You've been to Egypt and Africa. Before you know it, it's gone, and you're back in Moxville or you're back in Hidnight where I'm at.
But even though I have done a lot of travel, there's nothing like home.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy going to places, exotic places, but I absolutely love getting back home and seeing the sunrise in little old Moxville, North Carolina.
Well, how about you? What's your favorite? If you had to pick, I know you've been like Johnny Cash. I've been everywhere.
Well,
what's number one? Boil it down.
From an exotic standpoint, Elizabeth and I in 2008 went to the Masai Mara. We were there on the Operation Smile mission in Kisumu, Kenya. Helped process young children who had cleft lips and cleft palates with Operation Smile. That was about an 8-day mission. And then after the mission, flew a bush plane down to the Masai Mara, where we stayed in a tent for 5 days. And every day in the morning and in the afternoon, we would do bush drives or game drives, where we saw giraffes, wildebeest, lions, leopards, and that was in the middle of nowhere. That was in the middle of nowhere, but it was exciting. It was we got to visit a tribe of the Maasai tribe, and we got to visit their dung houses. And their protection against beast. They put their dung houses in a circle, and they put brush in between the houses, and they keep cattle in the center. It was
to keep them from getting eaten, most likely.
So their front yard is full of manure.
Interesting. Yeah. And it's times like that where, we take it for granted. We drive by Starbucks, it seems like every day. You can run down to Food Lion or Ingles, whatever your grocery store preference is. But times like that in Kenya, times like 20 miles deep in Alaska, really, you get rid of all the hubbub, and you do have time to sit down and think clearly. Mm-hmm. Well, there's grizzlies in Alaska, but there's no lions. I don't know if I could sleep.
They're both pretty dangerous.
Yeah, I'd take my chances with the grizzly.
You and I have taken 2 fishing trips, one to Montana and one to Colorado, which I will tell you my preference is Montana. But floats on the river are amazing downtime for me. The cell phone doesn't work, which I'll confess to you, there's probably a little addiction to to my cell phone and being connected. I hate that. I hate that feeling that I've got to have my cell phone. But the only thing good on the Missouri River for a cell phone is to take photography of the incredible scenery.
Big fish.
Big fish.
Which, if I remember correctly on that trip, yeah, my memory's a little fuzzy. Who caught the biggest fish?
Well, you're thinking about the trip to Colorado where you caught a lunker.
Well, it was a lunker.
I let that one pass so he would get on your hook. That's what it was.
I appreciate that. Just spitballing here. What's the most memorable piece of real estate that you've ever had the chance to sell or have sold?
You know, I've done this a long time, and there's two that really stick out in my mind. Three. There's three that stick out in my mind. One of them was a 1,386 acre mountain. For those of you that are local to this area, it's in Jonesville. It's the big mountain in Jonesville where you actually can see planes taking off at the top from Charlotte. You can see the skyline of Winston-Salem. And if you turn west at the top of that mountain, you can see Grandfather Mountain. And that one is special to me because it was transacted at the end of the 2008 and 9 recession when the market was trying to figure itself out. Mm-hmm. And so not only was it a titanic piece of real estate, but it was oxygen that I needed to make a living at the time. But that one stands out. The other one is one that happened a couple of years later, and that was Andre the Giant's estate in Ellerbe, North Carolina. And the last one was in Fauquier County, Virginia.
Okay.
It was a Civil War battlefield.
I do remember that one.
And that one I was real proud of. What about you?
Well, I'd say most memorable. I could probably nail it down to a big horse farm in Raleigh, but kind of like you, they're different ones are memorable for different reasons. I've had the chance to help great friends. I can think of a good friend of mine, Robert, was able to help his parents sell their house that wasn't able to sell conventionally. We were able to sell it at auction, a beautiful home up in Boone. His father was a dentist, and just getting the chance to know them and help them. I mean, that property there will be one that I remember forever because of the personal connection. But as far as one that just stands out because, hey, that is so unique. Probably that horse farm in Raleigh, it was a government seizure. The gentleman was involved in a Ponzi scheme, essentially. Federal government ended up with the property, and we sold as our company. Sold it for $3.4 million. But just the property itself was amazing, but it was in disrepair because it had sat vacant for so long. But the buyer was able to see through that and see that if they put a little bit of work into it, it could be back to its former glory. But that one, I haven't been back since, which it's gated, so I can't get in there if I wanted to. But I would like to see it again one day.
I bet you it's polished.
Oh, yeah.
So hunting, you said, is one of your passions. If you take hunting aside and fishing aside, what are your hobbies?
Well, if you'd ask my wife, she said she would say I have too many.
Hang on a second.
That's one of them.
He's a pilot.
So I fly airplanes for fun. I don't think I'd ever want to do it for a job because it is a hobby. It's fun for me. Aviation is something I really enjoy. It goes along with hunting too, but archery. Me and my son both compete at the state and national level with archery, and it's not always just hunting animals. It's field archery. It's indoor target archery. We're just shooting at it. Think of a Robin Hood, big bullseye. But that's something we enjoy doing together. But really, day in and day out, it doesn't really matter what I'm doing as long as it's with my beautiful bride and our 3 amazing children. I mean, it could be just going to the beach. It could be just sitting around playing. The other night we played Yahtzee for the first time. I
Old
can't
school.
believe my son is 14 and had never played Yahtzee. So we bought Yahtzee and had a great time. What about you? Other than work, which you do 99% of the time, you talked about the addiction to the phone.
Yeah.
That's a good thing about what we do is, the online auction world. We can do a lot, remotely on the phone, on a computer. But when you're able just to shut business off, take your business owner hat off, which is, again, sort of impossible. What floats your boat other than the grandbabies? What do you do for fun?
Well, you took mine away from me, and that's spend time with my grandchildren. I got 3 beautiful grandchildren, and I love them so much and enjoy spending time with them. Probably travel, and it doesn't mean necessarily international travel. It could be taking Elizabeth up to the Grove Park and spending a couple nights. It could be getting a bed and breakfast down at the coast. But I like to get away, and it's kind of funny. You have that desire to get away, but by the time you've gotten away and you're towards the end of that trip, you're like, I want to get home. And, I call it the product of the fall. We're never satisfied.
Yeah.
We're never satisfied. And we try to find things to fill our hearts. And I guess that leads me to say that it's not a hobby, but it's a passion, and that's Jesus Christ in my life. He is the only thing that can completely fill my heart and satisfy that longing that each of us have. So I didn't mean to go Billy Graham on us, but it came.
Well, it's something that we both, means a lot to us, and we share that in common, that our relationship with Christ is first and foremost, and it's what you do every day and what you consume, whether it's your Albert Mohler podcasts, whether it's being in the Scripture, whether it's the little reminder on some of our company shirts, the Golden Rule reminder. If it's something you live all day, every day, you're right. It's not really a hobby. It's just who you are.
Yeah.
And in our company, I am proud to say that's who we are, from top to bottom, from you at the top to probably me at the bottom.
Yeah, right.
Everyone embodies that, the same mindset.
We've got good people.
Absolutely.
And in the end, that's what makes a company. The people. It's not the idea. It's the people that every day in their workplace, whether it's being cataloging, they catalog to the best of their ability, previews to the best of their ability, represent sellers to the best of their ability. Let's change the subject.
Uh-oh.
Music.
Okay.
When I say music, I'm anxious to see what you say. What comes to your mind?
As far as what I enjoy?
Yeah.
I know you're going to think it's Metallica.
That's what I think.
Kyle has me pinned as a rock, junkie. My younger days, listened to Metallica. Right now, honestly, it's some of this country. I don't want to call it country western because people think of Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean. I mean, that's country music, but
I think of Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings.
Well,
when you
yeah,
say that.
yeah. The newer stuff, bro country they call it. There's a gentleman out of Canada by the name of Coulter Wall.
You've introduced me to him.
Yeah, it's kind of what country music used to be. One of his new songs, a new album just came out, basically saying, he's not going to get up and on stage and dance. The microphone's going to stay in the stand.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the lyrics of the song, and I've been to one of his concerts, and it's pretty straightforward. He stands up there with the guitar and plays and sings. It's not a production, real authentic, It's good to see that the, country from the 80s and into the 90s, grew up with, Tracy Lawrence and Clint Black, and obviously Garth Brooks took it up a little bit to the showmanship level, but just that classic 90s sound is what I'm all about. How about you? I know you're bluegrass through and through, but what's on your Spotify here recently?
Tony Rice.
Yeah.
And I'm a creature of habit. I love Tony Rice music.
Mm-hmm.
He was an amazing musician, guitarist, an incredible baritone. But on my playlist, it can be everything. I may be listening to bluegrass 1 minute and listening to Vivaldi's Four Seasons the next minute, Andre Bocelli, and then maybe throw in a little Metallica.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's the influence that you had in my life. So,
well, I enjoy a good John Tesh album every now and then too.
Oh yeah,
some good piano. Let's end this thing. I want to know, and this is completely ad lib here, so you may have to think about it. What is the most unique or craziest thing you've ever sold personal property wise? We talked about real estate. Is there anything that stands out in your mind, personal property, that's just wild? Doesn't have to be, sentimental, but just you thought, you know what? I never figured I'd sell that.
Wow. I mean, we did 173 auctions last year alone. Each of the personal property auctions had 300, 400 lots, individual items that we sold. It's really hard to pinpoint because we have sold everything from guns, gold, silver, to mom and dad's furniture, to corner pieces. I don't know. I can't answer that.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, again, ad-libbing, something comes to mind. We all remember the toilet paper shortage of COVID, right?
I knew that was coming.
Shortly after COVID, we had an estate situation up in Taylorsville. And I remember selling, there's big bulk packs of toilet paper. And I thought, in the past, we probably wouldn't sell it. We'd throw it away or tell the whoever's in charge of the estate just to take it and use it. But I had an inkling, we may want to sell these. I think the hammer price itself, without the buyer's premium, the hammer price of itself was almost $200 in toilet paper.
Now, Guinness
Book
of World Records.
I think it's a supply and demand issue today. It wouldn't bring near that, but I just remember that short time frame. I mean, we all remember it. You'd go to Dollar General and they had limits. You could only, buy 2 rolls or whatever it was.
I'll up you. It did come to my mind.
Okay.
We've done this twice. We've sold multiple vineyards, and we have sold the vats that the juice ferments in.
Okay.
And I think that's pretty unique. You don't sell that every day.
No.
You don't sell that every day. But well, listen, I've enjoyed this. You're a friend, and you're a coworker. You're very conscientious, and the thing that I will tell our audience is every one of us have stories, and it's not about business. It's about relationships, and don't be afraid to share your story. So, won't you close us out, Zach?
Yeah, as always, thanks again for joining us. If you or anyone you know would like more information on if the auction process may work for them, feel free to reach out to Kyle or myself, either on the website, ready2bid.com, or you can just look in the show notes where our information is in there. And as always, again, thanks for joining, and we look forward to seeing you next time on the Ready to Bid podcast.
We'll see you.